The brain is a limitless space, but as long as you think like the masses, the door to the superhuman stays shut. Jim Quick. You wake up, you go to work, you talk to people, you make decisions, you function, and yet something inside feels numb, like you're watching your life from behind a glass wall. You perform, but you don't feel. You achieve, but you don't live. There's a constant sense that you're not fully here, like part of you is asleep, or worse, hidden, forgotten. Maybe you've read books, watched videos, done therapy, tried journaling, tried meditating. You've done the work, but somehow the fog stays. You're not broken, but you're not alive either. Not really. And deep down, you know it. You know you're using only a piece of what's truly inside you. You feel it in those rare moments, when your heart beats faster, when you speak your truth, when time disappears, when clarity hits you like lightning. But then it slips away, and you're back to default mode. Let me say something no one ever told you directly. You are not lazy. You are not unmotivated. You are not stupid. Your brain is not underperforming because of a defect. It's underperforming because it's protecting you. From what? From yourself, from your past, from everything you've buried to survive. Your nervous system has learned to survive in safe mode, like a computer that keeps freezing because it can't handle all the open tabs. Your brain didn't shrink. It hid its power to keep you from burning out. And here's the part that hurts the most. Deep down, you know your brain is not fully engaged. You feel the potential, you taste it, but it's locked, behind fear, behind shame, behind patterns you didn't choose, but you keep repeating. And the more you try to push through, the more it pulls you back. That's not failure, that's protection. But protection becomes prison when it's never challenged. They lied to you. They said, if you just think positively, your life will change. They said gratitude and vision boards will unlock your destiny. But they didn't tell you that your brain is wired for survival, not happiness. They didn't tell you that behind every self-sabotage is a terrified child who learned that being visible is dangerous. They didn't tell you that clarity comes after facing what you've been avoiding, not before. You are a supercomputer running on emergency power. You have a nuclear core of intelligence, intuition, rage, creativity, hunger, grief, all of it locked under the surface. Not because you're weak, but because your system was trained to silence it, to fit in, to be good, to be safe. But safety without aliveness is just slow death. The most dangerous lie is this, that your numbness means you're okay, that being fine is enough, that not falling apart is the same as being whole. It's not. You weren't born for neutral. You weren't designed to flatline through life. That heaviness in your chest, that tightness in your throat, it's your power begging to be released. It's your brain screaming, wake me up, let me feel again, let me burn again. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why your pain isn't something to fix, it's something to follow. Because buried inside your frustration is the blueprint, the signal, the truth. Not the one you learned, the one you lost. And when you finally see it, when you stop running, your brain won't just work better, it will set fire to everything false. And that's when you begin. If these words resonate with you, subscribe to this channel. Let others who are ready to hear the truth find it too. And if you want to go deeper, join us on Telegram. You're not alone in this. They told you your brain is already working at full capacity, that the 10% myth is a lie. Technically, yes, your neurons are firing, your brain is active, But what they didn't tell you is that most of that activity is unconscious, automatic, predictable. You're not thinking, you're replaying, not choosing, reacting. Most of your brain's power is used not to create, but to protect old patterns. It's like owning a Ferrari and never going above first gear because the roads feel too dangerous. You're alive, but you're not in control. The reason nothing seems to change, no matter how hard you try, is because your system doesn't want change. It wants familiarity. It wants the known pain over unknown power. And the smarter you are, the better you become at building internal cages. You intellectualize, you justify, you say, "It's not the right time," or "I just need more clarity." But clarity doesn't come before movement. It comes after. The truth is, most people don't need more information. They need disillusionment. They need to see how deeply they've been manipulated by coping mechanisms that once saved them and now enslave them. Your mind was built for more, but it's been hijacked by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of your own intensity. And so, your thoughts become loops. Your energy gets stuck in maintenance mode. You stay busy, but never really move forward. That's not your fault. That's conditioning. You were trained to avoid discomfort, not knowing that discomfort is the door to power. Growth isn't clean. It's messy. It shakes you. It forces you to confront the parts you hoped would stay buried. But those parts, they hold the key. Most people live their whole lives on autopilot, calling it personality. They confuse emotional numbness with maturity. But numbness is not wisdom. It's just protection. The truth is, your system is brilliant at keeping you safe. It learned exactly what to shut down to keep you from being hurt again. But what if that safety is now the thing that's killing your spirit? What if the walls you built to survive are the same ones blocking your potential? This is not about working harder. It's not about becoming more disciplined or focused. That's surface stuff. Real change, the kind that activates your full mind, begins when you stop trying to be better and start being brutally honest. Honest about what hurts. Honest about what you've denied. Honest about what you truly want, even if it terrifies you. Because the moment you stop running from your own truth, your brain stops fighting you. It starts working with you. And that's when things shift. Not instantly, but undeniably. They say healing takes time. Sure. But sometimes, it's not time you need. It's truth. The kind that cuts through the fog. That shakes you. That makes you feel again. Because once you feel, fully, deeply, your system can finally rewire, not from strategy, but from alignment. And that's when your real intelligence, your real presence, your real power starts to emerge. Not the sanitized version, the raw one, the one that scares you and sets you free at the same time. There are people in history whose minds operated in ways that seem almost supernatural, not because they were born different, but because they unlocked something most never do. Nikola Tesla could run entire machines in his mind, test them, break them, rebuild them, all without touching a single tool. He didn't visualize, he experienced. What most people call imagination, he used as a lab. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just a painter, he was an anatomist, an engineer, a scientist, a philosopher. His brain didn't operate in categories. It wove together opposites, logic and wonder, structure and chaos. He wasn't trying to be productive. He was trying to see reality with all filters removed. Then there's Maya Angelou, who turned trauma into language that reshaped the human spirit. Or Steve Jobs, who didn't just build technology, He bent reality to fit vision. These weren't people who maximized their potential. They aligned with it. They didn't try to be someone better. They allowed what was already there to unfold. Their brains weren't just fast. They were deep, immersed, present. They could sit with problems, tolerate ambiguity, stay inside the unknown until something clicked. They didn't rush to solve. They stayed to feel. What these minds have in common is not IQ. It's not willpower. It's not privilege. It's access. Access to deeper layers of the psyche. Access to the nervous system without avoidance. Access to the body's intelligence, to intuition, to pain. They didn't try to escape themselves. They moved toward what others ran from. And that's what cracked them open. That's what turned them into portals, not just performers. They weren't chasing output. They were receiving insight. And here's the truth you won't hear in most self-help. Every single one of these people went through darkness, isolation, rejection, madness. They were not celebrated at first. They were misunderstood, mocked, dismissed. Why? Because the world isn't built for minds like that. It's built for efficiency, not depth, for compliance, not awakening. So if you feel like you're too much, too intense, too emotional, too scattered, it might mean you're built for more, not less. You're not broken. You're untamed. Real genius isn't about knowing more. It's about seeing what others can't, because they're afraid to look. And the ones who look, the ones who dare to stay in discomfort, to sit in silence, to listen to the voice beneath the noise, they're the ones who access layers of mind most people never touch. And it's not a gift, it's a decision. Not once, repeatedly, to not look away, to not numb out, to not shrink. You don't need to become someone else. You need to remove what never belonged, the roles, the expectations, the false calm. Your mind is already powerful. It's just covered in noise. And the moment you choose to clear it, not with more information, but with more honesty, you start to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. That's not motivation. That's memory. That's activation. And it's available now. So why aren't you there yet? Why does it still feel like something is holding you back, even after all the insights, all the work, all the effort? It's because your brain doesn't respond to effort. It responds to safety. And right now, deep inside, a part of you doesn't feel safe to expand. You might want transformation, but your nervous system is still wired for survival. You can't accelerate when your inner brakes are still pressed. And those brakes? They're old stories, not just memories, embodied memories. A look you once received when you were too loud. A moment when being visible led to shame. A silence that taught you your feelings were too much. These moments didn't pass. They became code, invisible rules that your mind still follows without question. And here's the painful paradox. Your intelligence is the very thing helping to maintain your cage, because you've learned how to overthink your truth. You intellectualize your emotions. You analyze your pain instead of feeling it. You tell yourself why you are the way you are, but never actually sit with what's underneath it. You escape through logic, through understanding. But insight, without embodiment, is just another avoidance. You think you're evolving, but really, you're looping. Your mind can't expand while your body is still bracing. It's not about learning more. It's about unfreezing, about melting through the armor. That tension in your jaw, the tightness in your chest, the shallow breath. These are not quirks. They are signals, evidence of a system stuck in protective mode. And until you address that, no mindset shift will stick. No affirmation will land, because your body won't let the new in while it still feels under threat. So what's the block? It's not laziness, it's grief. Grief for the self you had to abandon to be accepted, for the power you tucked away to survive. That grief is heavy, and most people don't want to feel it. They'd rather optimize than feel. They'd rather fix than grieve. But until you move through that grief, not over it, you'll always feel like something's missing. Because something is. You. The full you. There's a reason your mind keeps going in circles. It's trying to find a path that doesn't require pain. But there isn't one. The path forward goes through the anger you repressed, through the fear you covered with achievement, through the shame you buried under, "I'm fine." You don't need more healing techniques. You need more truth. The truth that your pain is not your enemy. It's your signal. It's your compass. And if you follow it, not run from it, it will take you to the parts of yourself you've been missing. Let's talk about how to actually engage your mind, not in theory, but in practice, because potential means nothing without access, and access starts with disruption. The first tool is the body. Before any mindset work, before any journaling, your nervous system must be addressed. If your body is locked in a stress response, no thought will land. That's why you can read a brilliant idea and feel nothing. You're not numb, you're armored. So begin here. Pause. Breathe deeper than you want to. Notice where you're holding tension. Your shoulders, stomach, jaw. Then ask yourself one question. What feeling is this tension protecting me from? You don't need to answer with words. Just listen. Stay. Let the discomfort speak. That's how you begin to include the body in your intelligence, not bypass it. Second tool, the shadow. The parts of you you've judged, avoided, condemned. The rage, the envy, the neediness. These aren't flaws. They're messages. And until you integrate them, they'll run your life unconsciously. Shadow work isn't about digging for trauma. It's about honesty. Radical honesty about what you feel, but pretend you don't. One practice. Write a letter from the part of you you most avoid. Let it speak. Let it blame. Let it scream. Don't edit. Don't analyze. Then read it out loud. Let the voice you buried come to the surface. This isn't about releasing negativity. It's about restoring truth. And truth is the only thing powerful enough to wake up a sleeping mind. Third tool, flow state. Not the romantic version, the real one. Flow is not peace. It's presence. It's being so immersed that the critic shuts up. You've felt it during movement, art, deep work, real connection. Find what puts you there. Then do it often. Not for productivity, for remembrance. Because in flow, you stop managing yourself. You stop performing. You return to your raw intelligence, not controlled, alive. The more time you spend there, the more your brain begins to trust that it's safe to be fully online. Fourth tool, silence. Not just quiet, actual internal stillness. Your mind is filled with noise, not because you're broken, but because you've never been taught to sit with yourself without agenda. Try this. 10 minutes, no phone, no goals, just you, your breath, and your thoughts. Watch them. Don't fix them. Don't chase clarity. Let the mind empty on its own. In that space, something deeper emerges. Insight. Not forced. Revealed. This is where creativity is born. This is where clarity comes. Not as an answer, but as a recognition. The truth was always there. You were just too full to hear it. These tools are not formulas. They're invitations to slow down, to feel, to face. And if you practice them, Not perfectly, but consistently, something starts to happen. You begin to hear yourself again. And when that happens, your brain doesn't need tricks. It needs trust. And when trust returns, so does power. This power people call superhuman is not a fantasy. It's not magic. It's not something reserved for the chosen few. It's a natural state, but it requires the unnatural decision to stop hiding from yourself. You don't become powerful by adding more. You become powerful by subtracting what no longer serves. When the noise clears, what's left isn't silence. It's signal. It's the part of you that knows, deeply, how to act, how to speak, how to create, how to lead. Not from fear, not from performance, but from alignment. That's the kind of intelligence that terrifies systems built on obedience. That's the kind of presence that shifts reality, not just adapts to it. And here's what most people miss. That level of presence isn't about being calm. It's about being real. When you stop pretending to be stable, your real center can emerge. When you stop faking clarity, your real knowing arrives. When you stop trying to be fearless, your true courage shows up. The kind that includes fear, but moves anyway. This is not the sanitized version of you. This is the one you locked away when it was safer to conform. But now, conformity is the danger. Pretending is the pain. Suppressing is what's making you sick. We've been told that genius looks like IQ scores, accolades, external success. But the truth is, real genius often looks like madness at first, like rebellion, like disobedience, like emotion, because it breaks things, not for the sake of destruction, but to clear space for something more true. Your greatest ideas will not come when you're trying to be good. They'll come when you finally stop asking for permission. When you say, "This is what I see, and I will not unsee it just to make others comfortable." Some of the most powerful minds in history were dismissed, mocked, institutionalized, or forgotten, not because they lacked brilliance, but because they dared to think and feel beyond what was socially acceptable. They were willing to pay the price for awareness. And maybe that's the real reason most people don't step into their full mind, not because they can't, but because they sense what it will cost. Comfort, belonging, certainty, the myth of "I'm fine." But on the other side of that loss is something so much greater: inner authority, creative freedom, unshakable presence. And the irony? When you finally access that part of you, life doesn't get easier. It gets clearer. You stop wasting energy on pretending. You stop performing for love. You stop betraying your instincts. You're no longer driven by validation. You're guided by vision. That's not ego. That's embodiment. You move through the world not looking for a place. You become the place. Not looking for answers. You become the question. That's not superhuman. That's human, fully engaged. And it's yours when you're ready to choose it. Here's the truth most people never face. The brain will never fully activate until the soul is obeyed. You can try every technique, every hack, every framework, but if you're not living what's real for you, your mind will resist. Not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Your deepest intelligence is not logical, it's instinctive. And the most powerful advice you'll ever receive is this: listen to the part of you that wants to create, not consume. To build, not mimic. To express, not perform. The system you live in wants you distracted, obedient, reactive, but the self that lives inside you wants something else: to realize itself, to move from idea to action, from feeling to form. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to say yes to what feels undeniably alive inside you. Once you do, your brain will begin to organize reality around that truth. The how will come. The clarity will come. But only when you stop betraying what you already know. So if you're ready to wake up fully, don't wait for permission. Create, speak, move, build, share. That's how you access 100% of your mind. Not by force, but by alignment. If these words speak to you, subscribe to this channel. Let others who are ready for this truth find their way. Join us on Telegram. We're building a space for those who are done hiding. And if you feel it's time to stop running, write in the comments, "I accept my shadow." Let's see who's ready to come alive.